Hello, you are watching The Garden Corner Show. We are a show, as you recall, where we're crazy passionate about everything gardening. I am J-Dog John Karshboom. I'm out here with Mr. Dave, and I can tell you the wind is picking up. I don't know why. I don't know why it is, but I comment on weather constantly. So it's just, I guess it's part of being
You're a gardener.
Yeah, because I'm a gardener. It's something very, very much a part of being a gardener. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I had heard there was a study one time that gardeners get inspired to go out and garden when rain is coming in.
Mr. Dave is saying that he read a study where gardeners get inspired to go out to garden when it's raining. Well,
When it's coming in.
and when it's coming in. Wow. Interesting. We're an interesting breed, would you say?
We are certainly different.
We're certainly different. So, hey, now we've planted tomatoes. I want to go in step 2 into how to plant tomatoes. Now, we've planted them, we've prepped the beds, but we've got to stake tomatoes. That's one of the big things. Otherwise, what's going to happen is the tomato's going to grow, and it's going to flop over. Your tomatoes are going to hit the ground. They're going to start getting dirty and start rotting out. What we want to do is keep them in the air. That way they stay nice and clean, they stay nice and ripe, or they ripen nicely, and then we can eat them. So, some options on how, we've got these planted here, some options on how we can stake them up. Now, first of all, the most basic is just using simple bamboo stakes. So, is what we can do. Now, some folks will just put in a single bamboo stake, keep that up, and tie it to the plant as it grows. Very, very simple, very, very doable. Use a sturdier stake, by the way, not too chintzy, though I've seen that as well work. So, because the tomatoes, as they grow older, will definitely get a lot stronger. Now, another option is to create a teepee out of them. You'll tie some twine around that, let that grow up, and it will continue to grow as high as you let it grow. So I'm going to say 6 feet roughly. So one option is to do that. Pretty darn inexpensive to do and very easy. So that is another way to do it. Another way to do it, to stake it up, is using these tomato spirals. And the tomato spirals come in different heights. So what you do is you stake that into the ground. I'm just going to stake this into the corner just so it holds. And as the plant grows through, and it would be neat if you can get a main stem to grow through this. But what you're really doing is using this to tack up your other branches to it. So let me hold this here. Hold on a second. So, now, a couple different ways, by the way, to tack on a tomato plant to your stake, whatever you choose, is, first of all, there's these different clips. And there's different types of clips, too. I've got all kinds of muddy hands here. So, what it is just a nice, simple clip. It's very flexible. And what you do is you wrap this part around the stake, and it has a little tab in it. I don't know if you can see it. And it just tabs right in there. So it holds it in, or your tomato plant would be growing right through that, holds it in nicely. So you can keep that like that. There's all kinds. You can buy a big bag of those. Another option to do is this foam wire. This is a really neat invention as well. It's essentially just a wire, and it's just covered with this foam. One trick, if you do decide to use this, is bite off a big enough piece so that you can really use it. So generally what I do is I'll wrap it around your stake, and then wrap it around your plant and twist it. So something like that is good, and you can even twist it around. Give it another twist before the stem goes through that. So anyway, so it's another option as well. One thing to not do is use those bread ties. So sometimes what happens is that bread tie exposes that wire there, and so that your stem will start to bite into that stem as it expands and grows. Now, another traditional way to do it is just the straight nursery tape, just like this. You can buy it in nice big rolls. It's probably more than you ever use, but they're nice and handy. You can use them for You can use them to hold all kinds of plants, from trees to perennials. So, nice thing about them is that they give. So as the plant grows, you'll never have it bite into it. So same deal too, as I just wrap that around a couple of times. And then I wrap it around the stem of the plant. So like that. One neat thing is one thing to do is if you are a neat freak, let me get that into a knot there, is that you can clip off the excess to make it look pretty. If you can actually cut it. So there you have it. So that is your stretch tie. Just some different ways to stake up your tomato and not harm it. So now, lastly I want to tell you about is the cages. Now, you can certainly do the round traditional cages, of course. There's goods and bads about that. One is that they've been around for a long time and really inexpensive. The bad thing about it is that if you get that cage too small, is what you'll set it in there, and then as the plant grows, it literally lifts that cage up. It'll blow over the next wind. So, and then also another tough thing about those round cages, they don't store very well, so they take up that room in your garage. Nice new invention are the square tomato cages. Neat thing about them is they are very reusable, and you can store them in the garage, hang them on the wall. They don't take much room. Just slide it right behind the bicycles there. So now the trick is getting the right size cage. You can see this is a very small cage. The tomato will grow easily. It's probably big enough to keep your tomatoes above ground, but certainly won't keep all your tomatoes together. So get the right size cage. Another thing about these cages, by the way, is they can use them in all parts of your garden. So if you have some perennials that start getting floppy over, they're nice and easy to use. Okay, so there's this cage. Let me show you another cage that I really like. It is a rectangular cage. Same deal, very easy to store. The only thing is it is a rectangle. So you set it in there, just like that. Nice thing about the rectangle is that it spreads that plant out, so you get a lot more light, easy to pluck the tomatoes on there. So think about that as an option to trellis your tomatoes. So anyway, that's what I've got for today. I hope it helps, but if it doesn't help, here is your quote. Never waste a minute of your precious life by squandering it thinking about people you don't like. That one, the author is unknown. Anyway, always remember, live your passion.
See me right out of the sunset.